WROC, Channel 8, Rochester. Live from WROC Channel 8, this is Eyewitness News, 11 at 11.
Rochester police are investigating the suspicious death of a 2-year-old boy tonight. And good evening, thanks for joining us. This is your 11-minute uninterrupted look at the day's top news, weather, and sports. Authorities tell us it all began when a man brought his 2-year-old son into the emergency room at St. Mary's Hospital earlier this evening, where the infant was then pronounced dead. Emergency staff had reason to believe the death was suspicious and called in the Rochester police. Officers are interviewing the parents at the hospital at this hour. According to them, the incident occurred around 9 o'clock tonight at a home located at 67 Champlain Street. No other information is being made available at this time. The police are continuing their investigation and say an autopsy will be performed on the child tomorrow. The body of a man found floating in the Genesee River has been identified as that of 72-year-old Donald J. Ryan of Rochester. The body was found early yesterday by an employee of Rochester Gas and Electric. The body was caught up in grates below RG&E's BB station. The medical examiner's office says the official cause of death has not yet been determined. Well, it was dubbed the largest pro-life march in Western New York. More than 500 pro-life activists took part in what they call a March for Life in Batavia today. Eyewitness News reporter Patricia Johnson tells us their goal is to spread a message that abortion kills.
I just feel that it's wrong to kill babies and that they're not just tissue, they are babies.
And that's the message these pro-life marchers hope to drive home to the American public. They say abortion is murder, and the only way to stop it is by educating people.
Why do you feel abortion is wrong?
Because it takes the life of a human being.
I think every life is important, even if they put them out for adoption.
Today I am directing...
Since taking office, President Clinton has overturned a ban on federal funding for abortion counseling and fetal tissue research. These marchers see this as a major setback to the pro-life movement.
I think we need to send him a message that he can't undo all the hard work that the pro-life groups have done over the last 12 years.
So organizers of the march are gearing up to wage a 4-year battle against the Clinton administration. Their weapons, prayer, and a letter-writing campaign.
We're going to try to keep the pressure up on President Clinton to let him know that we don't believe in killing the unborn.
The law gives women the right to choose, but the hope of these marchers is to convince women to choose life for their unborn child, not abortion.
If one baby is saved because of this, one lady changes her mind, it's well worth it.
These pro-life activists vow to continue fighting pro-abortion legislation at all levels. But of course that fight becomes a lot tougher now that a pro-choice president is in the White House. In Batavia, Patricia Johnson, Channel 8, Eyewitness News.
And several controversial topics are facing the 3-week-old Clinton administration. Congresswoman Louise Slaughter spoke with Eyewitness News, says she believes priority number 1 is the economy. She says later this month, President Clinton plans to unveil a $31 billion stimulus package designed to create more jobs and improve America's ailing infrastructure. Slaughter doesn't believe Clinton will raise taxes on the middle class.
What you're going to see is a shifting of burden to the people who benefited so much over the last 12 years to the cost of everybody else. The best way that you're going to grow out of this deficit, and it took us 12 years to get here, we're not going out of this overnight, is a double approach. One, to cutting the deficit, but it has to be accompanied by a growth incentive package to put people back to work.
In the coming months, Slaughter says she'll be working hard to bring more jobs to the Rochester area. Republican Senator Phil Gramm expressed his thoughts today on the jobs package President Clinton will unveil. Gramm says forget it and focus instead on the #1 problem facing America today.
Over a $31 billion budget-busting program to, quote, stimulate the economy. Quite frankly, the time has come to forget about this stimulation package and to deal with the #1 problem in America, which is the deficit. If we want long-term economic growth, we are not going to get it with a $15 billion make-work program.
The president took the first step anyway toward cutting back, a 25% cut in the White House staff today. 2 dozen mailroom workers were pink-slipped later today. Elsewhere in news, tennis legend Arthur Arshe died yesterday due to complications from AIDS. He was 49, and tonight, Charles Kuralt remembers the man who set the tennis world on fire.
Arthur Arshe did not let anything pressure him. not being black in the white world of tennis, not the heart attack he suffered while he was at the top of his form, not even the injustices against which he struggled off the court, racism in this country, apartheid in South Africa. Even AIDS, he did not rail against his opponents, not even the last one.
Some of you heard that I had tested positive for HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. That is indeed the case.
As gracefully as he ever stepped up to a net, he stepped up to the microphones last year to tell the world that he had been infected with the AIDS virus in the course of a blood transfusion. He seemed at peace with the future. Even as a young man, he seemed at peace.
What I don't want is to be thought of, when all is said and done, as, or remembered as, a great tennis player. I mean, that's no contribution to make to society.
At last night's big boxing match, they remembered Arthur Arshe with a symbolic 10 count. That seemed wrong somehow. He had died, but he had not been defeated.
A Rochester tennis pro and 3 of his students heard Ash speak just last weekend in White Plains. Curtis Carter says Ash was the inspiration for the 15 Love program he now heads. The drug prevention program encourages city youths to get involved in the sport of tennis.
The 15 Love program is his brainchild. So now I'm the head coach for the 15 Love program here in Rochester. It has a lot of importance to me. I mean, it's something that I've always wanted to do, and he's paved the way.
Carter described Ash as a very gracious man. He says he and his students now have memories they will never forget. Elsewhere in news, a Four Chaplain memorial service was held this morning to honor the memory of the 4 Army chaplains who gave their lives to help save the lives of hundreds of soldiers aboard the SS Dorchester when it went down after an attack by German U-boats. The Dorchester was transporting troops to Greenland when that attack occurred. The chaplains gave up their life vests and seats in rafts to crew members. Monroe County Chaplain William Hogan conducted the special service held this morning at the Church of the Transfiguration. Elsewhere, an intruder drove his car through several gates and crashed into the door of a turbine building at the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant this morning. The man, identified as 31-year-old Pierce Nye, spent 4 hours in the building before police arrested him. Officials say there was never any damage of any sort, or leak, or radioactive threat. Nye told police he didn't tamper with anything. Why he crashed his way into the plant, police simply wouldn't say. 11 at 11 continues now with your first look at the weather forecast. Meteorologist Mike Latella standing by in our weather center. How's it look for this evening, Michael?
Well, Jerry, a relatively quiet night on tap for tonight, but we do have some changes on the way in the form of some very light snow during the overnight hours. Take a look at the northeast satellite picture. You can see the clouds streaming in quickly from the west. That is a weak little disturbance which will generally push across the area. Most of the precipitation will pass to the north, but a little bit of precip is expected in here during the overnight hours. Right now in town, we're sitting in the middle 20s, and the air behind the front is not that much colder, nothing like the Arctic outbreak that we had over the weekend. Now, there is some snow falling in Marquette, Michigan, with a temperature of 14 degrees. Again, this is a very light snow event, and not need to worry too much about the snow coming in. Your first forecast, those clouds that you see outside will thicken. Some light snow by morning, 20 to 25, a little cooler to the south. Now for tomorrow, morning clouds and flurries and some PM sunshine. 25 degrees will be your afternoon high. We come back in the complete weather segment. We'll take a look at your back-to-work forecast in detail and one doozy of a storm that could be heading our way by the end of the week. Jerry?
Thanks, Mike. Jim Noble here now with First Sports.
All right, thank you, Jerry. It was back to friendly ice tonight for the Amerks. Rochester in a war memorial date with Baltimore. The Amerks beat the Skipjacks 11-2 the last time these two played. but Rochester was down 3-0 in the first. Chris Snell's shot tipped in by Scott Thomas. Emmerich down 3-1. They cut it to 4-3, but no closer. Trevor Halverson with a wraparound. Eric Morano will finish it off for the Skipjacks. Baltimore goes on to beat Rochester tonight 9-3. In the NBA, the Knicks and the Miami Heat closed out the back end of their home-and-home series tonight. And New York won down at Miami on Friday night. And tonight, a big game from Anthony Mason. He will take the feed from John Starks, jam it home for 2. That combo worked so well, they thought they'd try it again. This time, Starks will give it to, yes, Mason again, with good results once again. The Knicks go on to cruise past Miami, 104-82. Also today, Chicago over Portland, 101-91. And finally, the tennis world was still in a state of shock after the death of Arthur Ashe. Ashe died of AIDS-related pneumonia yesterday. Today, he was remembered by one of his fiercest rivals.
Always remember those who, not for what they do best, but for what they do. And even though tennis was his forte, but he made his mark not only in tennis, but in world activities.
And that is certainly an understatement. Later on, Jerry, we will have golf, NASCAR, and the Pro Bowl football game, all in about 10 minutes.
A lot more sports coming up. We'll look for you then. Meantime, coming up next here on Eyewitness News, is your insurance company scamming you? Stay tuned.
Don't burn up money when a divorce or bankruptcy is only $225 at Presley & Associates. Call 442-4000. That's 442-4000.
What did you say?
ChapStick medicated, please.
Introducing new ChapStick medicated, because sometimes nothing is more important than fast relief of painful chapped lips. Triple medicated, and you can feel the relief immediately.
Thanks.
The leader in healing chapped lips introduces ChapStick medicated, proven chapstick protection, triple medicated relief.
It's a new you on Vicki. We're turning 90210 with the help of way cool Brian Austin Green, Shanice, and rapper Yo-Yo.
So am I styling?
5 teens get a righteous new look from Hollywood's mega stylist, Jose Hebert.
Yeah, it's fun. A little stiff hair, but that's all right.
And
I've got the look. I'm now going to learn the tude.
Vicki learns that teen slang ain't no thing.
He smoked her out, which blew his mind, and they were both fully stoked, happily ever after.
On Vicki.
Monday at 9 on WROC Channel 8.
On the next Maury Povich show, a bizarre shooting mystery unravels with a father in jail.
My ex-wife, I believe, is truly involved in this.
A mother's lover dead.
I think he came down there with the intent to shoot George and I both.
And a 9-year-old boy at the center of it all.
I don't want to see my father again.
Whenever he gets old enough and he feels secure, he will tell the truth.
A case of whom to believe and who's telling the truth on the next Maury Povich show.
Turn to the Maury Povich Show, Monday at 4 on Channel 8. You're watching Eyewitness News.
Over the next 3 days, Eyewitness News will be giving you a Special 8 investigative report, emphasizing the seriousness of a crime you don't hear very much about too often. Eyewitness News reporter Dave Savini will take an in-depth look at insurance fraud and expose some cases that involved dozens of victims, and it also involved thousands of dollars.
I mean, you're like a sitting goose, and they're right there just to nail you. It's not fair.
These people are educated, middle class to upper middle class people from the Rochester area who, for any of a number of reasons, have decided that they must maintain their lifestyle or their goal of a lifestyle by stealing money.
Eyewitness News will expose insurance scams that involve local taxi car companies, as well as phony car and boat insurance. Scams that cost local policyholders thousands of dollars. Find out why the criminals rarely get jail time, starting Monday night at 6 in our special report, Insurance Fraud, a License to Steal. Well, a tiger takes a trip to the dentist for a toothache. That's later on Eyewitness News. And Mike Latella, of course, will be here in just a minute with your complete back-to-work forecast.
Florida cemetery, the grave of a 15-year-old girl, a suicide. Her grief-stricken dad confronts the ex-wife he blames for their child's death. A brutal assassination right before our very eyes. The exclusive inside story straight from those who lived it. Murder on video. It's on Geraldo.
Turn to Geraldo, Monday at 5 on Channel 8.
Hey, I'm home. Hi, how was your day?
Fine.
Anyone call? Hi, honey, it's me. I wouldn't forget Valentine's Day, so here's a song I picked out just for you.
Introducing MCI Gift Songs. Pick a song, we'll send it with your greeting on Valentine's Day or any day.
What is it?
Somebody for me.
If you're not entered in the Wheel of Fortune Red Letter Sweepstakes, you can't win. It's the biggest sweepstakes in wheel history with over 2,400 prizes. You could win one of 9 GM MasterCards, each with $10,000 to spend. Or you could win one of 201 trips to the Caribbean on Norwegian Cruise Line, 600 selections from the Bulova Watch Collection.
Over 1,500 Laguna sportswear and accessories packages.
There's over $1 million in prizes. So watch Wheel and win.
Turn to Wheel of Fortune, Monday at 7 on Channel 8.
When you see these UPC tags at your supermarket, tear one off and give it to the cashier. It'll cost you just $1, but you'll be helping to check out hunger in our community.
Had to do all sorts of things to stay warm yesterday and last night. Today, a beautiful day, sunshine and nice.
Yeah, well, the days are getting
now,
longer.
What? Changes again?
Not a big deal. We have a little bit of snow moving in for tonight, but not a big deal. The big deal comes along late in the week. Now, we're going to tell you a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. Right now, on the outside, just cloudy skies, 24 degrees, humidity 74%, winds light out of the south, which makes it feel all the nicer, and the pressure holding steady. Across the Weather Watcher network, here are your temperatures, and as Jerry referred to, boy, it's nothing like last night when folks were generally at or below zero. By this time, temperatures generally in the lower to middle 20s. Now let's take a look at live Storm Track 8 radar and see what's going on the outside. Not a lot to talk about. There is a little precip in the form of snow off the coast of Maine, but that is pushing out. Most of the Northeast is relatively quiet. Now, on the U.S. perspective, there is a little bit of activity going on to the south of here. If we could take a look at the Storm Track 8 radar one more time, down to the U.S. perspective, there is some activity here, but this is generally going to push off to the coast, not posing a problem for us. There is a little bit of light snow across the upper Michigan area, and that will be coming here, figure later tonight and into tomorrow, but again, not a big deal. The big deal is out in the west. We're going to have to keep our eyes on a situation developing on the west coast. Now let's take a look at the U.S. satellite picture across the area. Here's what we're looking at. This storm is making its way onto California, posing some rain for those folks. That could figure into our equation later on in the week. For tomorrow, though, once the flurries end, golden sunshine will be the rule, and it should be a nice day. However, if you look over my shoulder, a storm to watch, and I mean it, we do have a potential for some snow moving here late in the week. Highs tomorrow in the 20s, not as warm as we had today, but certainly not all that bad. Now, one of our computer models is projecting this storm to push to the south and out to sea. Now, the second one, actually 2 out of 3 models, I sound like the dentist, 4 out of 5 dentists surveyed, 2 out of 3 models are projecting this storm to come closer to us, which could produce some snow around here by Thursday and Friday. We'll have to keep our eyes on this during the week. Forecast for tonight, thickening clouds, a little bit of light snow, but not a big deal, 20 to 25 in town, a little colder to the south. Tomorrow morning flurries and some afternoon sunshine, highs in the mid-20s. Extended outlook showing that mid-20s for Tuesday, and then as we get towards the end of the week, the situation goes downhill. We have to keep our eyes on this. This could be a little bit of a snowstorm coming in here. Could be potentially large snowstorm for some areas.
Okay, you guys will sure have the word. Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. Jim, with the rest of Sunday sports.
Jerry, a potpourri of sports.
All right.
I've always wanted to say that on the air.
You did.
Coming up, the Knicks face the Heat. The NFL's All-Stars square off. And here in town, the Amherst get a bit of a shock at home. Sports is next.
Don't burn up money when a divorce or bankruptcy is only $225 at Presley and Associates. Call 442-4000. That's 442-4000.
There's something for you at The Source. At The Source, you'll always find just the right gift. We've never had a better selection, and you know you'll get the most for your money. Today, you'll save 40% on diamonds and diamond engagement rings. Save 40% on fashion rings and your choice of precious stones. Save 50% on gold fashion earrings. Save 60% on gold chains and charms, our biggest selection ever. Don't say I'll take it till you've been to The Source.
Dave Baldwin may not own a yacht, but like you, he makes sure the kids get new clothes when they need them. These are the basics. And now you can get something back just by the way you pay for them. The new GE Rewards MasterCard. You get 2% back on everything you buy. And $1,000 in coupons. For your GE Rewards MasterCard, just call 1-800-GE-REWARD.
Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why?
Meet Les Brown, author and star of The Les Brown Show at the Threshold Annual Luncheon. Proceeds benefit Threshold's Learning Center. Call 454-7530 for reservations. And watch for The Les Brown Show coming this fall to Channel 8. Starting Monday on Eyewitness News.
Inflating accident claims has become big business, $18 billion a year. I'm Dave Savini. Join me this week as I take an in-depth look at insurance fraud and show you how both the lack of law enforcement and punishment are opening the doors for people who want to make phony claims.
Turn to Eyewitness News for insurance fraud, license to steal, and in-depth 8 investigation beginning Monday at 6 on Channel 8.
And Jim's here to talk a little bit about the Amerks. Would you say they were not up to the game?
You know, 4 games in 5 nights. You could almost see this one coming, Jerry. Yeah. The last time the Amerks faced Baltimore, Rochester put a pasting on the Skipjacks 11-2. Tonight, a rematch at the War Memorial, and Baltimore was primed for revenge. Second period, Chris Longo to Randy Pierce for the goal. 4-1 Skipjacks at that point. Now, the Amerks did come back. Great pass from Jody Gage to Joseph Cherney. Amerks within 4-3, but then the roof caved in. 5 goals in the third period for the Jacks. Steve Kanawachuk, or something real close to that pronunciation, lights the lamp, and Baltimore does it 9-3 over the Amerks. Rochester now has 4 days off before returning home on Friday. To the NBA, where the Knicks and the Miami Heat have seen plenty of each other lately. The Knicks pulled out a 3-point win down in Florida on Friday. Tonight, the rematch at the Garden in New York. Patrick Ewing working hard inside, gets the friendly roll for 2 of his 21 points tonight. Former Syracuse star Ronnie Cycli looking like a point guard on this play, feeding John Sally for the deuce. But the Knicks were pretty much in control throughout. Tony Campbell had 21, nothing but net from the baseline. New York takes it 104-82. Elsewhere, the Celtics beat Golden State Nets by 3 in Milwaukee. Michael Jordan 34 as Chicago beats Portland. Seattle 2 better than Detroit, and Phoenix beats up on Orlando. Now in that game between the Suns and the Magic, check this out. Shaquille O'Neal, he will stuff home the rebound and timber the basket. Is history. In fact, the game was delayed 35 minutes while they found another one. Shaq won the battle of the baskets, but Phoenix did win the ball game. John Wallace and the Syracuse Orangemen will try to get it back together tomorrow night when they host Georgetown. Wallace, the former Greece Athena star, only had 6 points in last night's loss at Miami. One major upset on the college scene today. Number 3 Kansas knocked off by Nebraska. Maybe the Jayhawks needed Vitale. Maybe not. Nebraska had their star, and Terrence Badgett goes coast to coast for the hoop. Kansas down 2 now in the final seconds. They lose the ball. Badgett will pick it up, and he will take it all the way and finish this game off with a jam, and that was it. Nebraska upsets Kansas 68-64. Michigan got past Purdue. Arizona beat Cal. Wake Forest drills Temple. North Carolina Charlotte, an upset overtime win over Tulane, and U of R losing its 6th straight game 60-58 to Emory. To golf now, and up until today, Brett Ogle was a household name only in his own household, but that's not the case anymore after the final round of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Ogle, who is used to the rain in his native Australia, battled the wet conditions and won. The birdie here on number 13 gave him the lead to stay. And on 18, it was a case of a simple tap-in, wrapping it up for Brett Ogle, his first PGA win. Here's the final leaderboard. Ogle, 3 shots better than Billy Ray Brown, Greg Twiggs, and local product Joey Sindelar in at -8. Down in Florida, Dale Earnhardt warmed up for next Sunday's Daytona 500 by dominating the Busch Clash. Kodak's Ernie Irvan started on the pole in the first race but couldn't hold off Earnhardt. The Terminator took race number 1 and then, starting from the back of the pack, won the second race as well. A good tune-up for the Daytona 500 for Dale Earnhardt. And finally, the game is never over until the fat lady sings, and the football season is never officially over until the Pro Bowl, the NFL's annual All-Star Bash taking place tonight in Hawaii. Now, the AFC has dropped 3 of the last 4, but they took the lead here. Steve Young is picked off by San Diego's Junior Seau. He will rumble 33 yards. The AFC up 7-3. Now, here's a nightmare for you Bills fans. Dallas's Michael Irvin burns Buffalo's Nate Odoms. Does that look familiar or what? That's the touchdown. They're in the 4th right now. The AFC is leading the NFC 20-13. But, you know, only 4.5 months till training camp, so they won't be gone long.
Yeah, that time will fly, you see. Thanks, Jim. A white Bengal tiger makes a visit to the dentist. Had a toothache. We'll show you that in a moment. Right now, tonight's winning lottery numbers.
Eyewitness News this morning, now with even more local coverage from 6:30 till 9. Turn to your morning team of Dwayne Brozick and Glenn Richards for the most comprehensive morning report ever. More local weather with constant updates throughout the morning, helping you prepare for your day. Continuous traffic updates, keeping you apprised of local driving conditions. All the information you need to start your day. Eyewitness News this morning. More weather information, more traffic updates, all the latest in news and sports. Eyewitness News this morning, every weekday morning on WROC Channel 8.
Riblets from Applebee's. Once you've tasted them, you can't stop thinking about them. Tender, juicy little rib tips. Everywhere you look, you see them. Riblets. And more riblets. Hickory smoked, slow cooked. You got riblets on the brain. They're everywhere. Baskets of riblets, platters of riblets, riblet combos. Whoa! Riblets are really cooking at Applebee's. So come on, what are you thinking about?
America's favorite neighbor.
Bike it, block it, dig it. Women's USA Team Volleyball, the Stars and Sparks Tour. The Olympic Battle of Barcelona rages on as the bronze medal U.S. takes on the gold medal Cuban national team. See the action, feel the excitement. World-class Olympians in international competition. Seen any exciting television lately? This is Jeopardy!
There is the Daily Double. Time now for Double Jeopardy.
For 200, please.
More specific, Final Jeopardy.
Pose it in the form of a question.
What is turn, turn, turn? On Channel 8, weeknights at 7:30. Take the Jeopardy challenge. This Final Jeopardy subject, U.S. presidents. Whoa, hello.
Turn to Jeopardy tomorrow at 7:30 on Channel 8.
Now let's catch up with Lucknow, who happens to be a 440-pound male white tiger at Miami Metro Zoo. He underwent surgery today. A veterinary dental specialist performed a root canal for the big cat. He apparently broke his tooth while chewing on a bone. But at last word, everything's fine. Lucknow is doing just perfectly great.
Oh, better you than me saying that.
Carry on, quickly.
A little bit of flurries coming in overnight. Not a big deal. We start the day 23. A little cooler tomorrow, but not a big deal with the snow.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Jim?
Big game at the Dome in Syracuse. Syracuse and Georgetown tomorrow.
Thanks so much for being with us. Have a great week ahead. We'll see you along the way. Good night.